Let's talk about Hume and his concept of causality, his notion of causality. Because if for Hume, David Hume, even the causality, the causation is a matter of habit, so the self, the soul, the substance, the identity also is the result of the experience, right? What is the notions of the self? That is something that do not change. It's not variable. There's no interruption. It is an identity, right? When you take your picture when you were a child, and when you take a picture and put the sign at the side 5 years ago and take another picture today, you will see that it's different persons, but because the things happen so fast, we cannot see that is the habit, the experience that produce to us the feeling of an identity. So the memory that the succession of events, of phenomena, the experience that show to us that between these phenomena there is a similarity, right? So this similarity with the time and the succession of the similarities, we change the relation among objects to a notion of identity. But this because our structure, right? So, as well as we cannot say that causality is an a priori sense, a sense that is before the experience, we cannot say this. So we also cannot say that the self is something that has contiguity, right? Because it's not true. The self is only the result of our experience that make our different times be saw as an habit, and this habit transform the relation among the separate events into something that feels like a movement, right? What is the movement? Think a lot of pictures. The movement is when it's so fast the way that these pictures came one from another that you feel that is movement. So, causality, the self, is only the result of experience. When David Hume looked inside him, looking for an identity, the only thing that he said that found was images. of his memory, right? So, the self is an illusion for David Hume. And this was so crucial. So there's so many importance on this movement that David Hume did in the philosophy, that Immanuel Kant, one of the most famous philosophers, said about Hume. Hume, wake me from the dogmatic dream. There's no self. You are owned. You are owned. Seeing the same thing happens, or better saying, different things happen that has similarity among them, and how these things happen so fast, and how these things happens always, you think that there's something called identity, but there's no identity. And here, a lot of persons will say, Hume is like a Buddhist, right? In this meaning that there's no self. So we are talking in the other lectures about Christianity, Islamism, and now we are talking about Buddhism. And at the side of the religions, we are talking about science, right? Causality, identity, that are concepts usually used in the science, with Hume are being contested. And we are talking about philosophy, right? We began with Socrates, I know that I know nothing. We go to Descartes, cogito ergo sum, je pense donc je suis. And we go to Hume. There is no identity, there is no self, the causality is only the result of your experience, your habits. Next video, Kant.